Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Budget session of Parliament begins with President's address to joint sitting of both houses. President says amidst global instability, India is setting an example to the world by emerging as a pillar of economic, social and political stability. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presents economic survey in both houses of Parliament. India's real GDP growth estimated at 6.4% this year and between 6.3 to 6.8% growth in the next fiscal. India is preparing to bring back 26/11 Mumbai terror attack accused Tahawwur Rana after US court victory. MEA says it is working with US on procedural issues of early extradition. Israel releases 110 Palestinian prisoners after delay over chaotic hostage handover. Fourth round of hostage prisoner swap to be held on Saturday. India advanced to final of Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup with win over England in semi-final. Budget session of Indian Parliament kicked off today. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the Union Budget 2025 in the lower house of Indian Parliament on February 1st, 2025. Indian Parliament's budget session 2025 kicked off with President Draupadi Murmu's address to the joint sitting of both houses, setting the stage for key economic policies and legislative priorities. President Murmu was welcomed in Parliament premises by Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, and an official carrying the Sengol, adopted as a cultural symbol by the government. Addressing the sitting of Parliament, President Murmu said historic Mahakumbh is a festival of our cultural traditions and social awakening.
देश में महाकुंभ का ऐतिहासिक पर्व भी चल रहा है। महाकुंभ भारत की सांस्कृतिक परंपरा का, भारत की सामाजिक चेतना का पर्व है। देश और दुनिया से आए करोड़ों श्रद्धालु प्रयागराज में पूर्ण स्नान कर चुके हैं। मैं मौनो अमावस्या के दिन हुई हादसे पर अपना दुख व्यक्त करती हूँ। घायलों के शीघ्र स्वस्थ होने की कामना करती हूँ।
President further said that the government has taken strong steps to provide Awas through Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana.
भारत की विकास यात्रा के इस अमृतकाल को आज मेरी सरकार अभूतपूर्व उपलब्धियों के माध्यम से नई ऊर्जा दे रही है। तीसरे कार्यकाल में 3 गुना तेज गति से काम हो रहा है। आज देश बड़े निर्णयों और नीतियों को असाधारण गति से लागू होते देख रहा है और इन निर्णयों में देश की गरीब, मध्यम वर्ग, युवा, महिलाओं, किसानों को सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता मिली। मेरी सरकार ने तीसरे कार्यकाल में सभी के लिए आवास के उद्देश्य की पूर्ति के लिए ठोस कदम उठाए हैं। प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना का विस्तार करते हुए 3 करोड़ अतिरिक्त परिवारों को नए घर देने का निर्णय लिया गया है। इसके लिए 5,36,000 करोड़ रुपया खर्च किए जाने की योजना है।
President Murmu said that today our youth are making the country proud in every field, from startups and sports to space exploration.
आज देश में 1.5 लाख से अधिक स्टार्टअप है जो इनोवेशन के स्तंभ के रूप में उभर रहे हैं। 1,000 करोड़ रुपया की लागत से स्पेस सेक्टर में वेंचर कैपिटल फंड की शुरुआत की गई है। यूएस वर्ल्ड फ्यूचर स्किल इंडेक्स 2025 में भारत विश्व में दूसरे नंबर पर पहुंच गया है। यानी फ्यूचर ऑफ वर्क श्रेणी में एआई और डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी अपनाने में भारत दुनिया को रास्ता दिखा रहा है।
Earlier, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi made his opening remarks before the media at the start of the budget session of 2025 at the Parliament premises today. The PM called on all MPs to contribute to strengthen the vision of a developed India during the budget session. He stressed that this is a golden opportunity for young MPs as their active participation and awareness in House will allow them to witness the fruits of a developed India.
बजट सत्र में सभी सांसद विकसित भारत को मजबूती देने के लिए अपना योगदान देंगे। विशेष करके जो युवा सांसद है उनके लिए तो सुनहरा अवसर है, क्योंकि वो आज सदन में जितनी जागरूकता, जितनी भागीदारी बढ़ाएंगे और विकसित भारत के जो फल है वो तो उनकी नजर के सामने देखने को मिलने वाले हैं। और इसलिए युवा सांसदों के लिए एक अनमोल अवसर है। साथियों, मैं आशा करता हूं कि हम देश की आशा आकांक्षाओं के इस बजट सत्र में खरे उतरेंगे।
India's Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presented the economic survey in the Parliament on Friday in the lower house of the Parliament. Soon after the economic survey was tabled, the Lok Sabha was adjourned till 11 a.m. on 1st of February. Sitharaman also tabled the economic survey 2024-25 in Rajya Sabha or upper house of the Parliament. The proceedings of the house were soon adjourned after being tabled. India's chief economic advisor, Dr. V. Anant Nageshwaran, held a presser in New Delhi on the economic survey 2024-25. Dr. Nageshwaran stated that in a changing world, India needs to boost domestic growth and outlined the drivers of economic growth.
We have to raise the game for a new playing field. The playing field has changed, and the game has to be rely on domestic drivers of growth. We do have a goal, a legitimate economic and social aspiration to become a developed country by 2047. The last economic survey broke it down into multiple components, generating about 80 lakh jobs per year, increasing our share of manufacturing in GDP, plugging Indian businesses into global value chains, and creating a viable small, medium enterprise sector, which in the German language is called the Mittelstand. We have to raise our game on domestic growth. And how do we do that? There are 4 dimensions to it. One is deregulation for growth, augmenting internal capacities for growth, the role of the private sector in nation building, and doing energy transition the Indian way.
Dr. Nageshwaran also spoke about how India is making rapid strides in building robust health infrastructure.
The affordable medicine and immunization program through the Jan Aushadhi Kendras, over 14,000 are operational. Full immunization coverage is happening. Disruptive technologies, including drone technologies, being deployed to provide medicines in remote areas. And also, if you look at the health identity cards, Ayushman Bharat Health IDs, 72.8 crore IDs have been created, and 26.4 crore vaccine doses monitored and administered, and E-Sanjeevani is serving more than 30 crore patients as well.
Ahead of Union Budget, Steel Secretary Sandeep Pondrik said that the government is trying to incentivize the steel industry for domestic manufacturing. The Steel Secretary was interacting with Indian steel giants including Jindal, Tata, SAIL among others under the theme of Vikasit Bharat through the prism of steel sector. India is concerned that while it has huge growing demand of steel, but its large part is fulfilled by imports.
One priority is to create more domestic capacity. If we don't do that, then we basically become dependent on the imports. Second is greening of steel. As the world moves to less carbon emission, our industry will have to move, means there is no option. Third is and which is related to the first priority is keeping our domestic industry competitive.
In the interaction,
we are quite serious that we should incentivize domestic steel. We are trying to do that. Another thing which as a ministry we are trying to promote is cooperation in international arena. Now we see that there are three areas in which our industry can work together. One is getting raw material security. For coking coal, we are mostly dependent on imports, but we need to diversify. If we depend only on one country, which is presently Australia, but we need to diversify to Russia, USA, other countries.
India Inc. has expressed great satisfaction with the economic survey. Speaking exclusively to DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo, the Director General of the Confederation of Indian Industries, Chandrajit Banerjee, said that the industry expects the budget to be growth-oriented. Take a listen.
The economic survey is out and I have with me the Director General of CIA, Mr. Banerjee. Let's talk to him and find out. Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, welcome to DD India. Now, has the economic survey given solid directions for the industry to make right business decisions?
I would think so. You know, it has been. It talked about a 6.5% range of growth around that, which is completely what we had also in mind, and with the nominal growth predicted to be upwards of 10%, we do see a lot of space for India to invest in areas of social development, like the rural areas, the education, the healthcare, and all of that.
Now, in view of the changing geopolitical situation, what are the challenges that you foresee?
No, I think that India can and definitely need to grow beyond 8%. There has been geopolitical, as you mentioned, geoeconomical challenges, which has put us into a growth rate which is lower than that, but in terms of the real growth rate. But if you really look at India's opportunities, I mean, and if we continue with the focus that we have on deregulation, if we really look at how government gets out, as it has always said and has done pretty much strongly on getting out of the way of business, so to say, it is a very strong sort of a signal and opportunity for both Indian as well as foreign investors who are coming and working in India.
Do you see a need for more private sector participation in funding capital expenditure?
See, government has done the heavy lifting as far as CapEx is concerned. As you know very much, it has been leading. Private sector investments have started coming in. There are sectors where we have seen strong rebound in the private sector as far as investments are concerned.
And what expectations do you have from this budget?
What we would really look at is a focus on growth, because growth will be, as you began by asking as to how fast we can move on the growth rate. I think a tremendous focus on growth would help us navigate through many global challenges that are ahead.
So there you heard from the DG of the CIA. Of course, we need a strong growth-oriented budget, and that is the only answer to the global challenges. With cameraman RK in Delhi, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
The spokesperson of India's Ministry of External Affairs on Friday said Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump had a telephone conversation recently. The two sides are working on an early visit of PM Modi to the US.
Prime Minister and President Trump had a telephone conversation some days back recently. The two sides are working on an early visit of the Prime Minister to the United States to further deepen India-US comprehensive global strategic partnership, and specific dates for this visit are still being worked out and will be announced at the appropriate time.
On US top court declining Mumbai terror attack accused Tahawwur Rana's appeal, the MEA spokesperson said that India is working with the US on procedural issues for early extradition of Rana to India.
On 21st of January, the US Supreme Court declined a petition from the accused. With that, all roads, it looks that his appeal in the matter has been dismissed. We are now working with the US side on procedural issues for early extradition to India of the accused in the Mumbai terror attack.
The MEA spokesperson also informed that DG-level talks between India's Border Security Force and Border Guard Bangladesh are scheduled from February 17 to 20th in New Delhi, during which border-related issues are set to be discussed.
The DG-level talks between BSF and the Border Guard Bangladesh are scheduled from February 17th to 20th, 2025, next month in Delhi, during which all border-related issues are proposed to be discussed. We expect all mutually agreed MOUs and agreements, I would say, to be honored. These form the basis for structured engagements between India and Bangladesh, in fact between the border guarding forces of the two countries, and these facilitate creation of mutually beneficial security and trade infrastructure along the border.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. What are the diversity policies US President Donald Trump is blaming for mid-air collision of two aircraft in Washington? Stay tuned to know more. We will tell you all the latest updates from Mahakumbh 2025.
Timeless, boundless and infinite, the essence of faith, the soul of Sanatan culture, from the sacred confluence of Prayag, where divinity descends to earth. Witness the grandeur, the devotion, the magic, world's largest cultural and spiritual gathering, with over 450 million devotees expected to attend. Mahakumbh, India's greatest festival of faith. Exclusively on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. Updates on Washington DC plane crash now. US authorities said on Thursday it was not yet clear why a regional jet and US Army helicopter collided at a Washington airport, killing 67 people in the deadliest US air disaster in more than 20 years. The flight data and cockpit voice recorders have been recovered from the passenger jet that crashed into Washington's Potomac River after a deadly mid-air collision with a military helicopter, US media reported. They would be analyzed by the National Transportation Safety Board, which is leading the investigation. The cause of air crash is not yet clear, and there is no evidence that efforts to make the federal workforce more diverse have compromised air safety. US President Donald Trump on Thursday, without providing evidence, linked the deadly mid-air collision of two aircraft in Washington to previous presidents' diversity policies. During the White House press conference, Trump said the deadly plane crash was the result of the Federal Aviation Administration's efforts to hire a more diverse and equitable workforce. Update from West Asia now. Israel released 110 Palestinian prisoners late on Thursday after delaying the process of a chaotic hostage handover. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the sight of their chaotic handover was shocking and threatened death to anyone hurting hostages. Netanyahu and the Israeli Defense Minister said they had ordered a delay in the releases of the prisoners until the safe exit of hostages in the next phase is assured. The Prime Minister's office later said that mediator had committed to ensuring the safe passage of hostages in future handovers. Later on, two buses carrying Palestinian prisoners reached Ramallah in occupied West Bank on Thursday, their arrival cheered by hundreds of waiting Palestinians. Israel's prison service confirmed it had freed 110 prisoners on Thursday as part of the agreement with Hamas for a truce in Gaza, which came into effect on January 19. This was the third round of the hostage prisoner swap. The next round will be held on Saturday, under which Hamas will release 3 male hostages. All right, and Italy is now the first country to block Chinese AI app DeepSeek for data protection reasons. Europe has opted for a much cautionary approach towards AI innovation. Could Italy's block lead to a domino effect of European countries doing the same? Or will Europe's attitude towards it change? For more on this, we are joined by DW correspondent Wada Imran in Berlin. Hi Wada, tell us what led Italy to the block.
Thanks for having me. Well, it all started with Italy's regulator and data protection authority, Garante, and the decision that they announced late in the evening yesterday, which was that Chinese AI app DeepSeek will not be available in Italy. The first reason they cited was dissatisfaction with Chinese AI companies' response to an initial query about how personal data is collected, where it's stored, and if the users are notified of this. Now, the Italian regulator says, quote, these companies declare that they do not operate in Italy and that European legislation does not apply to them. And so the AI app vanished from Apple and Google app stores yesterday, and a new investigation popped open. One question on everyone's minds that Italy openly asked was whether the storage of this data is in China. And not getting a clear response led to this block.
All right, Wada, the EU had AI laws before it even had AI. What does this say about the approach towards futuristic technologies?
Yes, Europe has legislation before it actually has the product or the service for that legislation. And that's what many here are debating. There's already so many things that a company developing AI in Europe would have to think about, and yet the same framework of restrictions isn't applicable to the US, where these cutting-edge technologies are being created and tested. If we look at the EU AI Act, which was launched in 2023, so almost 2 years ago, it says, quote, AI systems in the EU should be safe, transparent, traceable, non-discriminatory, and environmentally friendly. Some of these are perhaps impossible to achieve right now. It is common knowledge, in even the MIT released a report about this last year, that AI's carbon footprint is massive, and it requires a lot of energy for artificial intelligence computing to do its tasks. There's still a long way to go before AI can get environmentally friendly. So I'm not sure if Europe's approach will change given its list of demands from a technology that's still in its earlier phases.
All right, Wada, thank you so much for joining in. As India's national capital gears up for the assembly election on February 5th, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a public rally in Delhi's Dwarka area on Friday. During the rally, PM Modi said that BJP will leave no stone unturned to usher in development in Delhi. He criticized the AAP government and warned Delhi residents to exercise caution around the city's current ruling party.
दिल्ली वासियों, दिल्ली में तकरार वाली नहीं, तालमेल वाली सरकार चाहिए। ताकि मिलजुल करके दिल्ली की हर बड़ी समस्या का समाधान हो। जब दूसरे राज्यों में चुनाव लड़ने के लिए इन्हें पैसा चाहिए होता है, ये दिल्ली के लोगों की जेब में डाका डालना शुरू कर देते हैं। इसलिए दिल्ली के लोगों को अब सावधान होने में देर नहीं करनी चाहिए।
And now, to all the latest from the Mahakumbh, the largest religious gathering on the planet. The Mahakumbh fervour still continues with devotees from India and across the globe coming to Prayagraj. The administration issued a string of directives, cancelled all VVIP passes. Routes for devotees have been made one way to avoid overlapping, given the huge rush of people heading to the Ghats and returning after a dip. District Magistrate of Prayagraj clarified that there will be no restrictions on vehicle entry in Prayagraj on January 31st, February 1st and February 4th. He specified that the divergence scheme will only be implemented on February 2nd and 3rd. He also refuted the viral claims stating that vehicle entry would be restricted until February 4th. The administration said these measures are designed to manage the crowds and ensure the safety of devotees. People are being urged to adhere to the guidelines and cooperate. The popularity of the Mahakumbh and its cultural heritage are being recognized globally. Foreign devotees visiting the Mahakumbh were deeply impressed by Indian culture, and alongside their holy dip in the Ganga, they experienced India's religious and cultural traditions. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Prasar Bharati from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.